Welcome to Sonderlings, integrating Troika system. Let the bio ride begin.
Hey folks, welcome back to Sonderlings podcast. I'm Danny. Joining me as per the usual, Carly, DB, and Jacob. Say hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
So we are picking up where we last left off with a clever move. Last episode, some shenanigans happened, and it went really quickly. So Vigor decides to go kidnap a poorly made dwarf and kidnaps them, and they faint, and decides that it's a great idea to pretend that they're not a part of the group so that Pith and Nimbus can rescue the poorly made dwarf from their clutches. And that's awesome. That's a great idea, except for the fact that Pith just decided to go do whatever the hell they wanted to do, and went off towards the camp solo and turned the head dwarf into a frog, who was then stepped on by their compatriots and promptly died. All the while, Nimbus, in a stroke of madness, stripped nude, covered their body in mud, and decided to pretend to be an idiot when they rescued this poorly made dwarf to get them on their side, and that just all went to hell because the poorly made dwarf actually hated everybody in the camp and was trying to get away from them. And so now you're all speaking with the poorly made dwarf, trying to lay plans for how to get these miscreants out of the mushroom grove. Yes.
Can't remember. Is Nimbus dressed? Did he ever get dressed?
No, so. you have not specifically put your clothes back on, to my knowledge.
Yeah,
so that's cute. Can we? Mm-hmm. I would really appreciate it if you could go ahead and take care of that. I don't like the view.
Okay, I'm gonna do that.
Beautiful. Well, Nimbus is getting his clothes put back on, and probably wiping or attempting to wipe some of the mud off of his body. I'm going to go ahead and catch up everybody on the details of kind of what occurred over with the encampment when I was out in the woods, kind of give the breakdown of the fact that it seems like my plan maybe did have some benefits. I might have potentially scared some people, a little bit, thinking that maybe there was some godly intervention. Kind of explain that I had yelled a little bit. And I also give the number breakdown, kind of explaining that there seemed to still be 3 who hung out in the camp. I believe 6 who headed east and 4 who headed west. So the group is a bit splintered. Thumbs up. And kind of give the rundown on that.
Yeah. So the question remains, what are we doing next? Where are we going? What are we going to try to handle? How are we doing things?
Well, this is a dangerous mushroom forest, and the camp seems ripe for the plucking. So we should go and beat those 3 dwarves, steal all of the camp's goods, and then make our next move, I think. For we shall hold all of their assets and use it as leverage.
I'm kind of like right next to you guys, but there's sort of like just enough
really
brush. No, but there's like I can hear everything that's going on, but there's like enough underlayer that it's kind of like a Chinese curtain, like
you think there
my
is.
clothes are going over the top. Yeah, exactly. And I've been standing in front of you guys naked for like an hour, so it doesn't really matter. But I say,
suddenly you're discreet. Okay.
Yeah. I second that. I think we just go tear up the camp.
Well, listen, boys. I'm not so sure that we should be going in and tearing up a camp that may have some resources that could be helpful to both us and potentially those who live in Cylindria's Grove in the first place. Let's not maybe cause too much more damage. But I would love to take care of those 3 miscreants who hung around.
So I will tell you right now that all of these miscreants are are just hardened vagabonds. I doubt that you could easily take them in a fair fight, let alone an unbalanced one. And well, as you can see, I'm gonna be good for nothing, just absolutely nothing. Um, so you may want to find a more clever solution to your problem. Um, and this harkens back to, maybe you had a vision about how to handle these issues, not through brute force.
Well, yeah, but they're separated. They're down to like
Mhm.
3.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sweet. Everybody got their character sheets?
Yes.
All right, cool. Go fight them.
So listen, Bob. I don't love that you don't think that you have a whole lot of usefulness. If you don't want to go back and show your face in front of the old people who kind of forced you to do some guard duty for them, I can understand that. But I feel like your usefulness may instead lay more in the realm of knowledge, my buddy. And I'm wondering if you know of what kind of weaponry might be around the camp, if there's anything dangerous, any areas they would typically lay traps. Maybe you could give us a little rundown so it makes holding down the camp, getting in there, taking it over a little bit easier.
Ooh, yes. Were there any explosives?
Okay,
Question.
Vigor. Maybe not so many
Good question.
explosives. I don't know. I don't know if you need to have any more. Your
Well,
personality's
you know,
explosive enough, Vigor.
maybe it's a place I could just avoid. Fire can be unpredictable. So
I still don't like him.
Well, listen.
Nimby, he grows on you. Don't worry.
So here's what I will tell you. This is frankly your perspective of traps and things of that nature seems to stem from some sort of other system that would be kind of similar to this, but not this exactly. Um, when construction crews go in to work on a project, they don't usually booby trap the place. It kind of breaks OSHA standards. Um, so
Hmm.
so really, you're just going to have to worry about, like them being stronger than you, um, and not being super excited about missing out on the large amount of money that you're probably getting between them and but I mean, I'm sure you can come up with a creative way to get around this. Like I said, a clever ruse.
I have already thought of one. My
Oh, God.
good man, Bobble.
We talked about this. My name isn't Bobble. It's Bob.
Ah, yes, Bob. Well, you do not know this. Although I took the image of a demon, I was still myself in appearance, correct? But I have a trick up my sleeve as I gesture with my long flowing red sleeves. I can assume the shape of anything smaller than a piano, which means I could assume the shape of a precious gem. And you could return this gem to your camp, waving it about proudly. And I'm sure these 3 ruffians, eager for the riches, and thinking you are an easy target, would snatch me up and stare at me into my many beautiful fasts. And with that, I could unleash my spell, a flash of blinding light that would leave them wandering about the dark, unable to see. What
Is
say
that
you?
what we would pop in with some maybe some weapons, take these boys down?
Yes, but wait for my word, or else you will be blinded yourself.
Again, I don't know that.
No, go ahead, please.
I don't think weapons are going to work. I mean, we're going to have to come up. I like the way you think. I was kind of thinking something along the same thing. Like, if they're going to look for the 1,000-pound canvas, I don't know if maybe we could, you could turn into something that looks like the 1,000-pound canvas. What I'm trying to figure out is how we dispatch them without having to dispatch them in person,
Oh well,
right? Is there like,
there's lots of rope in the camp, so if you were to
okay,
incapacitate them, you could easily tie them up.
okay, so let's
This
go
is good.
look at them. You want to go look at them? Let's go up the hill and like peek over and just see what's going on.
Okay.
I would happily show you to the area in which I utilize some cover to be able to cast my spell. And I kind of
Absolutely.
motion back towards the direction that I, was standing in before.
Nimbus just kind
Awesome.
of reaches down and scoops up a twig on his way.
Oh,
Okay.
all right.
Vigor, what are you doing?
Follow. I'm curious to get a look at these. Size
Other
up,
than
our targets.
other than being bummed about not getting to turn into a diamond or blow stuff up so far.
I'm all for
he's
two
very
of his
grumpy.
plans, but it
Full-
only makes me
full
think harder.
disclosure, that was a brilliant plan. Like, I don't know why you guys didn't jump on that in the beginning. Like, that's a really good plan.
Yeah, I'm not upset about it. I do also though want to make sure that we get we've been talking for a little bit. Nimby had to change. I'd like to get an updated view of the scene before we skirt down, but I do think that that is probably our best plan. And while we are walking back towards the cliffside, I do make sure to kind of lean back and doing my best to make sure that old Bob here does not hear me because I know he's not always the biggest fan of Vigor. I give him a little pat on the back and I tell him that I do think his plan was worth considering.
You be an
So,
exploding diamond?
oh lord. So as you're getting closer, I am going to need. Let's just call for one person to give me a sneak check, and if nobody has sneak, then give me the skill check. It will be opposed because these people are scared, so they're actively looking for threats.
I got 10, and my skill is a 5. So,
Okay. So things
not so great.
seem to be going well.
Yeah, I think I'm being very quiet. I'm
Sure.
very confident.
So as you're getting nearer, you're noticing that it's kind of comical. Like, it's just 3 vaguely humanoid figures standing back to back to back in the middle of this like clearing, and all 3 of them are doing that like, did you just see something? No. Did you just see something? No. Okay. And like very very scared, and they've all got brutal looking weapons in their hands and look like they actually kind of know how to use them. The camp is, it's not like everybody trashed it as they were running away. People were more concerned about running away than they were about knocking things over and running into things. So the camp actually looks pretty organized. They've been here for a couple days. They just got to cutting down the mushrooms. If you remember, they felled one of these giant mushrooms. And you can see that there are a lot of supplies here. It's several tents. It's laid out to accommodate them for the duration of this expedition. And they're not trying to go back to the lodge at night. They're staying here. And so the only 3 that you can see are those 3. It In reality, if you think about the timeline, it hasn't been super long. Right. And so it's kind of that sweet spot where if it was just somebody getting startled and running off, they would have come back to camp by now. But they couldn't be expected to make it back if they were like seriously scared and running. So you're in that sweet spot. And that's essentially what you're seeing.
All right, so as I see this little cluster of 3 kind of back to back, since I am leading the charge, I kind of throw a hand up and whisper back, doing my best to be as quiet as possible. I let the team know that there are 3 people standing guard. Quiet. They look alert. And I look back to Vigor with a knowing look, a little raise of the eyebrows, a little wink wink, like maybe this is the time to enact that plan. They're closer than I thought they would be.
You can't see it behind my mask, but I'm grinning. and I throw out my arms to the side, and I pray this works. I assume the shape. Ooh, no. I do take a damage. I do take 4 damage, though. I rolled a 9 on a 7.
You take damage
You're
for whatever you
welcome
roll
to try
over.
it again, by the way.
I'm gonna. I mean, I'll
You
just
can just keep paying the piper.
4 hurt.
Do you want to eat a
all right.
ration before you do that?
I totally forgot. Yeah, that would be great. How much do rations heal for?
1d6.
I got kind of a funny thing too. Like I'm still kind of learning this new
Got a
thing I've
6.
got going on, but
Oh, nice.
I actually have assume shape as well.
This could be good.
Do you have flash?
I
Or
don't, but
whatever
I
it is,
do
the
have.
blind spell?
No, Danny, I don't. But no, I've got
I like that you just continue to talk in Nimbus voice.
Me too.
Thunder spell. So I'm thinking that might
Oh.
shake him up a little bit.
Okay, well,
Ooh.
Why don't I do that first? Hey guys, why don't I do my thunder spell and see if I can get that to pull off? That might shake him up a little bit. And can I please can I please break this twig? I really want to hurt somebody. Is that okay?
I am actively laughing in character as well because in Youngardi, the lawyers would appreciate this request. Uh,
I just
You'd
want
make
to
a
do.
good lawyer.
Does anybody have spells pulled up like easily where they can see what thunder spell does exactly?
yeah.
Yeah, thunder is 2. The wizard raises their arms and shouts something suitably ominous. All within 24 meters must test their luck or skill for enemies, or be deafened by a riotous roll of thunder. Luck or no, they will be mightily impressed. So yeah, sounds like it might be a pretty good follow up though to me threatening as a god, a pseudo god, throwing my
So,
voice or whatever.
yeah, I mean,
The only thing
this is your rodeo. You are all welcome to do whatever you want to do.
I just don't want to deafen my compatriots. Are we within 24 meters of the 3 in the camp?
No.
Okay.
Why don't you just keep that in your back pocket and be ready to do it
Yeah.
in case Vigor's plan doesn't work out?
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I ate that ration. I rolled a 6, so I overhealed, but that doesn't really matter. Then I
Yeah.
cast Assume Shape again. I got a 7 on a 7. Ticked
Awesome.
next to my thing. Took another 4 damage, so I'm at 14 health, and I am a large diamond because I have to be smaller than a piano, but I can't be smaller than a cup. So I'm a big fist-sized
Fist-sized.
Yeah.
diamond
So
with
paint
many
a picture
beautiful
for
facets.
us here,
Mhm.
old Danny, of how Vigor, you are, I'm assuming, towards the back of the group here. I've turned back to whisper to you all that we got to be a little bit more quiet, and I give you a little wink. We obviously just made eye contact. I see you start to bleed from the nose the first time that spell fails, and then the second time, do you just plop to the ground as a fist-sized gem?
Well, you see him
Well,
start to bleed from the nose, go, slam a granola bar, and then turn into a gem and plop to the ground.
Right,
bam,
you missed that
bam,
part.
bam.
Yeah.
Just
Okay.
fishes out a cashew cookie Lara bar. It's like, 1 second.
Right. So my eyes light up at this, especially at the eating of the granola bar. Having spent a lot of time on Quith's head, I'm usually aware of what that means. A spell has gone awry and another one's probably coming. So I rush over to take a little gander at the gem. I mean, I'm tiptoeing. I'm not trying to literally run and create a whole lot of noise, but I pick up the gem, and I'm assuming you said you did take damage, obviously. Is there can I see that you are a hurt gem? Is there a small crack
No.
in your
No.
crevice?
No.
I'm beautifully made.
Yeah.
Beautifully.
Many
Okay.
many perfectly cut facets that
Okay.
catch and dazzle the light.
So,
Nice.
I'm
I
gonna
hold
need
you up
that
to the sun.
gemstone.
I am fully taking a gander at it in awe, and I look back at Bob with a real disappointed glance, and I slam it down in his fist.
Good. And he just, without another word, just turns off and starts marching back into the camp, all proud. And from a distance, what you see is Bob marching into the camp. The three like turn, look at him, realize who it is, calm down a little bit, and he's got the gem like Vigor. You're basically in his like fanny pack at this point. And you see him like gesturing to the three in the camp, and they're gesturing back, and you can see that they're kind of telling him what happened while he was, on watch. And he is, talking to them, and I'm you're not close enough to hear them because I don't want to have that conversation. And so don't at me. And so then you see him pull out this gemstone from his bag, and the three of them immediately like crowd around him. One of them like looks shocked right past Bob, and you see Bob like turn. Another one snatches the gemstone out of his hand, and one of them just decks him right in the face and knocks him out. So Bob's not having a great day. But Bob is unconscious, and these three are like huddled over this stone, kind of
Who's holding it?
What?
Who's holding it?
One of the three.
I want to get out my twig.
Okay, Vigor, I know you've been waiting for this moment. So
Sorry.
I am going to let the two of you test skill against each other to see who gets their spell off first.
Okay.
I feel like that's the only fair way to do this.
I love it.
Testing skill.
Yeah.
I got a 6 on a skill of 6.
We're testing skill,
No,
not
you're
luck.
Versus.
Oh, it's versus.
Yeah, so you're rolling
Okay.
2d6 and adding your skill.
6.
In
But
total.
I got a 6 plus a 6 is 12 total.
Oh. I got a 6 plus a 5.
Oh, by
Okay.
just the skin of your gemstone.
So as you are
Beautiful.
going, as you're just like excitedly raising this twig, ready to snap it, Vigor.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Roll
so
your
I like
spell. No, you have to try.
Well, I'm gonna, but I'm imagining. Have you ever seen when they show like the perspective from like a fly's perspective, and it's like
Yes.
that many
Faceted.
That's what I'm imagining. Yeah, faceted like perspective. That's what I'm imagining. But there's dozens of these.
Right.
Okay. So here we go. I see these. I got a 4 and a 2, a 6, and my flash skill is an 8.
All right.
So I release a. Let's see. It says, "I issue forth the light of 1,000 suns.
Wow.
All within 20 meters must test their luck or skill for enemies, or be blinded for 1d6 minutes."
So that's perfect because Bob is down and we're not that close. We're farther away than that because the thunder spell was like 24 meters, I think.
Yeah. So real quick, we're going to test skill for all three of them. They all fail their skill test.
Lovely.
So all three of them are blind. You said 1d6 minutes?
Yeah.
For 4 minutes. So
Nice.
they're all
Nice.
blind. You are now, like, they have dropped you. So you are just a multifaceted diamond about the size of, 2 fists, plopped unceremoniously on the ground in the middle of this camp. Bob is unconscious next to you, and your compatriots are off in the bushes somewhere. This seems weirdly familiar. Vigor's there in a camp, Bob's unconscious, and the two of you are in the bushes.
Yeah, so as soon as I see him flop to the ground and all of these, these three people kind of clearly get impacted by his little spell, I turn back to Nimbus, and I make sure to mention that while they are blinded, they are not deaf. They say that quietly, and I say, let's make sure that we're being quiet and a little sneaky as we approach. And I start to kind of take the lead, walking very carefully towards the group of three.
Okay.
So I've already got my war mitts on, but I'm going to go ahead and take out my net and beater. I'm going to say that I was going to break the twig just because it was in my hand, kind of a one ring scenario. But but because he did the flash, now I don't want to waste my
Perfectly
stamina.
good twig.
So yeah, exactly. Or perfectly
Yeah.
good twig. So I'm gonna pocket that. I'm gonna get out the net and beat her and start I'm gonna kind of go back into a little bit of a uh primitive Nimbus stance and start doing my little scuffle.
Which makes noise. Like you're making more
No,
noise.
the word scuffle was the wrong choice. No, I do like the crouch, like what's the goblin? What do you call that? The crouch sneaking.
I don't know. That's not sneaky though. Like,
In my voluminous. Yes, it is.
no,
Does it only work if you sneak like a ballerina? Like
no.
you can
I'm
you can
just saying, like,
sneak and get down.
you can do that, but like the way that like goblins are usually portrayed moving isn't sneaky.
I think he's trying to. Are you thinking of prowling? Like the act of prowling?
I think that's
'Cause
a good word for it.
That's what I think of when
That
I think
seems like a term that should get canceled, guys. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm prowling around this city. That's what I'm doing.
Mhm.
All right, so
I'm cautiously approaching in a low stance. I don't know what to say.
Are you
There we
also
go.
naked again while you're
No,
prowling? I have a lot of
no, I'm
questions here.
thinking I'm thinking about
I
it,
mean,
but no.
Vigor just flashed everyone, so
That's true. I'm on a
Hey,
list.
to
um,
adopt this wide stance, I probably have to pull my voluminous robes up
voluminous.
over. Voluminous. Yeah,
Yes,
probably up, so I'm showing a little thigh. You know what I
we
mean?
had we had an entire thing in an episode about the word voluminous that I
Yeah,
didn't
me too.
edit out. Like I
No,
left
I'm glad you
it
didn't.
in there,
Yeah.
and you
Still on the
still.
fence about that actually being a word.
We like
Voluminous.
checked this.
We
It's
literally
voluminous.
Googled it.
What is
Perfect.
voluminous? It's luminous and voluminous.
This is exactly what you
Like
said last
shiny.
time.
Well,
This is
but
the
that's it.
exact
That's the only thing that makes
conversation.
sense.
Look, he had part of his forebrain removed before. Okay?
Yeah,
It's
listen.
hard to remember stuff.
No one else here acts as half-brained as Nimbus does in character sometimes, so it feels
No, this
unfair to
isn't
use that
Nimbus in
term.
character. This is Jacob in real life.
All right, my bulky, shining robes I've gathered up.
Just say billowing.
Yeah.
Billowing. Yeah. No, they're
Yeah.
not billowing. Is there wind? That's a good question. Is there wind, Danny?
I mean,
Are
there's
my
wind. The
robes,
question is how much it's blowing. Like, there's
are
always
they
wind.
voluminous too?
No, your robes are voluminous.
So just making up words.
I don't even know what's happening anymore. So you get into the camp. Pith, with a semblance of stealthy normalcy. Nimbus, basically like scuttling like a crab into camp is what I'm picturing in my mind. So I'm going to use the word scuttling. Um, and these three are basically just like still yelling in pain and kind of rolling around on the ground, very uncomfortable because their eyes hurt because the light of 1,000 suns just pierced them. So, that would probably hurt a little bit. Um,
Are the
so
three of them clustered still very together, or when they kind of all got impacted by this spell, is there a little bit of separation? Is one a little further
they're
than the
all
other two are?
clustered together.
Okay. Would be nice if Bob was awake. We could do a 1v1, but unfortunately. All right, so since I'm kind of taking the lead here and didn't take the extra time to get into like zoanthrope mode for a second, I'm going to first tiptoe my way over to Bobble, who I believe is knocked out on the ground. Correct?
He's coming to.
Okay.
He just got jarred.
Does he look injured at all?
I mean,
He got punched.
yes,
I don't know how
but
badly.
no. Like,
Okay.
he
Not
just
badly
got
enough to matter.
punched in the face and was unconscious for a second. But it's something that he can get over.
Okay. So I want to go over to check him and kind of make sure that he's stirring fully. And upon seeing the fact that this sweet, tiny, poorly made dwarf was accosted, I mean, so far he's only been, in my opinion, a true delight, a lover of this forest. this fungi land. I want to head over towards, I don't know, whichever one punched him. I'm assuming I saw that. Whichever one directly punched him in the face. And I want to get out my whip and get ready to start trying to hog tie this floundering man.
You remember that there's rope in the camp.
I'm assuming this is being whispered to me, and I look back and I go, "Oh, I know,
I'm gonna say,
I know well."
hey,
So
I,
you're gonna
I
use
crack.
your weapon.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I crack my whips. I have a second weapon. I have a knife. I crack crack my whip slightly, like in my hand, kind of tightening it between my two hands, and I go to start trying to wrap it around a hand or a leg, whatever. It's right in my hands. I don't have to go looking for the rope. Seems easier.
I'm like, hey, Pith, what if we do I'm whispering this, but I'm like, since you're the voice of this frog god and you've already spoken, why don't you do a hold still, everyone, your greed has betrayed you or something, and see if everybody will just calm down.
I turn back, whip in my hands as you say that, and I look impressed with that suggestion. I look very happy about it. I whip in my hands, turn back to the floundering group of three on the ground. Doing my best to get a bit theatrical, I breathe in a little bit, kind of puff out my chest. Two of my other arms are in the air above my head. I do a little stance for a second, and I let out a thunderous statement. I say exactly the words that Nimbus just whispered to me. In my best growly god voice. And while they are, I assume, reacting, I go to hop on the one that punched Bob.
No, you don't get to just do that. Um, so
I have to
you
roll. I
start
have to use these.
you start talking. No, you start talking, and they literally are like, "Look, we're blind, not deaf. Like we could hear you whispering to each other. We know you're not gods. What the
I
hell is
continue.
up?"
I continue to scream in my full theatrical voice.
Okay, so
If they
you're
try to come at
screaming.
me, they're blind. So I'm doing that sharks and minnows game version of
Yeah.
you can't see me. What are you
You're
gonna do?
screaming. One of them just threw their sword at you.
Can I dodge? Let me roll for that.
No, you can't dodge. You can roll versus.
Okay, yeah, sure. I got double sixes.
Okay, so you're able to whip it out of the sky,
Yeah.
and they're like standing up back to back to back again with their weapons out, brandishing them, even though they can't see anything. And they're now like ready to throw down because you weens went up right next to them and were whispering about your plans instead of just maybe tying them up.
You lay hands on these big bad guys and they're gonna fight back. You can't just, it's not like they can't feel their wrists. So I
Yeah.
was thinking if we could get them to be scared
Oh
enough
no,
to
I'm not
not
saying it was a
resist, then it
bad
would be
thought. I literally rolled a d6. A 6 is what it would have taken for them to hear you. Guess what I got?
okay. All right.
Yeah, no,
That's
like
fine.
I gave it slim odds. They heard you.
So are we
Sorry.
in combat? Or are we still playing? Or are
No.
we still just
Well, they're
okay?
blind, so they're not like actively pursuing you, but they're all back to back to back. So you could probably
Okay.
come up with some creative way to, I don't know, incapacitate them again.
I mean, they're still
All right.
blinded, so they're pseudo incapacitated, but for only a
Right.
little bit.
Like they can't
Yeah.
see. What if they couldn't hear because of a big thunderclap?
Thunderous clap. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's do that. But you guys are gonna have to roll skill to or roll luck to not be deaf. So as long as we're willing to take that risk.
Or
If you're asking me this in game, I turn to you with a big grin, a big, big grin, and I nod knowingly. Do it.
Can I hear as a gem?
we're gonna go ahead and say no. Um, you're good. You're just laying there exulting in the fact that you're beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Bob has scurried away. He wants nothing to do with what's happening right now. He
Makes
is
sense.
very willing to help the three of you when it looks like the three of you are doing well. And he wants distance between himself and the three of you when it doesn't look like the three of you are doing well. And so he's
Fair enough.
scarpered. So
All
yeah.
right. Or Thunderspell. That was 2, right?
Yes.
Spin 2? Okay, I've got 7 in it total.
Okay. Roll 2d6.
Oh my gosh. I
Did you
rolled
roll
a 7.
2 6s?
No, I rolled a 6 and then a 1. And I was like not expecting it to work out like
I was
that.
really hoping you hit the oops table again. I was about to be real happy.
Raise my arms and turn into a pig.
All right, so
One day.
you cast the spell.
Now the blind guys would be really confused though. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So you cast the spell, and now we need to know if Pith is going to be deaf as well.
That is true. So I am rolling a skill check, right?
Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah. Test my luck
Luck.
or skill for
Ooh.
enemies. Mhm, okay.
Yeah.
So I got a 5 and a 6, and my luck is down to, I believe, an 8 according to my notes, because we have not rested.
No, you haven't.
So I do not succeed, and I am also deafened.
Okay. So you and the 3 ruffians in this camp are all deaf as a doornail. And
You look over at me, and you can tell that my ears are bleeding slightly, but the grin has not erased from my face.
oh no.
I'm
Oh,
still very
no.
excited.
As somebody that's actually experienced that, it's one of the worst things I've ever been through in my life.
Oh yeah,
What,
no, I'm
bleeding
sure
from
it's
the
super
ears?
painful.
Yeah, like having a burst eardrum and just
Oof.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So these 3 are now howling in pain on the ground, rolling about. You would also be like affected, Pith. You don't
Yeah.
You don't just get to play the cool like I just turn around and grin. Like
You act like in Youngardi,
Bleeding from the ear.
literally I have literal scars all over my face from the cases I've had to try. You're telling me that I don't have a higher pain tolerance as a person who loves combat and loves the law as much as I do? You're telling me that I
I'll let
haven't
you
been bashed
test
in the head?
skill.
6 into 1, and I have a skill of 5. So yeah, okay, I'm in pain.
Different. It's like catching your fingernail on the inside of your nose when you're picking it. It doesn't matter how high your pain tolerances is. It's like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You notice both of my eyes are definitely tearing up, and tears are starting to stream down my face. There's still a grin, but I do look pained.
Yeah, I'm not gonna fight you on the grin. So yeah, so the 3 poor miscreants, because now I feel bad for them because they're blind and deaf. They're all basically concussed, and they're just moaning and rolling around on the ground in exquisite pain. So what are we doing?
I'm going to finish the job I had already started before I guess I accidentally made them decide to attack us. So I re-grab the other end of my whip and I head right back over to the one that punched Bob in the face. And I start hog-tying, or attempting to hog-tie this person. I'm assuming that's probably a roll versus, like, base skill for me.
I'm just gonna test your whip skill because like they're not in any shape to do anything to try to oppose this at the moment. So I would just do
So
it.
I have a total of 9, rank of 4 and a skill of 5. And I rolled double ones.
All right, you're clear.
Every time anybody rolls any number, I'm like, oh no.
Right.
Oops.
Is it the
It's got
double
me shook.
6? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like which one's
No, I
bad
do
in
it-
which time?
I do it flawlessly. Like, I have tied many a hog in my day with whips.
Well, you've already hogtied somebody in the last hour, so you're pretty practiced at it. So what's just out of curiosity, what's happening with the other two?
I'm
The other two
distracted.
people? Well, I go find rope. I mean, I assume we peeped some rope. You said there's a lot of rope laying around, right?
Yeah.
So I go snatch up whatever the closest rope is, and I'm jumping on another one of them.
Cool.
All right. Well, seeing that they each have one, I think it is now my turn to, to come back in my full glory. And so I turn from a gem into my natural form. Is there extra rope?
There's plenty of rope. There's enough rope for you to hog tie every single one of the ruffians, not just the ones in camp right now.
Okay.
I also just
we-
had this mental image of you not leaving being a gem and just staying as a gem and waiting in camp for anybody to come back and just one by like systematically blinding everybody that picks you up as this like vengeful gem. Lost it a little bit there.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna if the tide turned, I was hoping that I would still be behind the ruffians, and so I could attack them from the rear if it didn't go so well. But it looks like we have it in hand, so I can return
you
to
seem to be doing
the
all
Eagles.
right.
Yeah. So yeah, I want to hog tie the last guy. Come here, you. You can't
Yeah,
hear me, but I still issue commands.
Yeah, I am gonna need you to test skill, and Nimbus, you need to test skill for tying up yours as well.
Okay. Just
Is it like a
straight test of
grapple
skill.
or?
If you have like a grapple-y type thing, you can use it.
I've got strength. I'll do strength.
Strength
No, I
works.
failed mine. I got a 9 on a skill of 6.
All right, so
I
you're
failed mine too.
all right. So both of you can do it eventually. It's just taking you some time.
Okay.
You know.
You do
It'll
notice that
Okay.
I'm standing over you with 4 arms on my hips, looking mighty disappointed in your hog tying abilities. I'm tutting a little bit as I shake my head in disapproval.
This would go much quicker if you would stop squirming. I could save us all
Yeah.
some time and reduce him to a pile of ash, but I decided to do it the right way.
Mine like throws an elbow back and pops me in the mouth. I'm like, I will break your neck with my mind.
He can't hear a word you're saying.
Oh yeah.
They can't hear anything.
Oh, hey, quick GM choice here. How long does not specify how long it lasts?
It's just it's over now.
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't realize that it wasn't like a timed thing until after I'd said that they're all deaf for a while. So basically it's just lasting like it's that like heavy tinnitus ringing in the ears right now.
Right,
And so
right,
they
right,
can
right.
hear, but they're kind of doing the Archer like mop mop like you know. But yeah, so
Perfect.
they're all tied up. Bob has come tentatively back into camp. So you know, I may have gotten the wrong impression of the three of you because I don't know why. After thinking back, but hindsight's 2020. But for some reason I thought you knew what you were doing. And like it's
Hey,
clear that you
Bob.
don't. It's very clear that you don't.
Take that tone with me, Mr. Baba Booey.
My name is Bob. My name is Bob.
What did I say?
You know you didn't say Bob.
Oh, well, I know you were saying that I wasn't doing what I meant to do. And look, the camp is ours as I triumphantly place a boot on a, crate, proudly, hands on the
Yeah,
hip.
Bob, I don't really love that you're trying to say that we all didn't know what we were doing either. I think I hog-tied faster than any of these fools. I did some good work with that whip.
He had 2 extra arms, Nimby. It really wasn't fair, I think.
Hey,
mean,
I was
I'm
born
gonna
like
have to
this,
agree
all
with
right?
that.
It's not my fault.
Yeah, we used rope and she used her
Into this
weapon, so
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say Hey, listen, I would love to continue this debate, but the other ones might be coming back pretty soon. Let's either hide these guys or take them back to the mushroom dude up the hill, Toadstool. Let's get him to him. Or like put him in the weeds or something so that if anybody else comes back, they don't see him, right?
Oh, there's like a. I shouldn't have. No.
A
I
cliff?
shouldn't.
There's a
No, there's a port.
It's a river of lava. Oh,
Yeah, there's a outhouse over there.
Oh, yes. Okay.
we'll wait for you if you have to go, Bob.
No, you can hide them in the outhouse.
Oh, yes, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Well, then what happens if we have to go?
I've seen you.
You know what? Never mind. Let's
Use
just
the
do
wood.
that. Thank you, Robert.
My name is Bob.
Mm-hmm. I know.
Mm-hmm.
You won't stop saying that. I get it.
Listen, we're just trying to give you a nickname so you fit in. Some of us, I look at Nimbus, have at least 2 or 3 names, all right? It's not our fault.
Mhm.
Exactly.
They usually call me some derogatory thing.
I'm gonna be like securing really tight mouth. I can't. I just have been
Gags?
thinking about the gags. Yeah.
You're thinking about
Um,
voluminous gags?
Yes. Yes. There. um.
Are you using your
Yeah.
socks?
Securing gags, and I'm going to. No, not this time.
All right.
I'm gonna start dragging the first one over to the outhouse.
Okay, cool.
I'm gonna do a roll for it if you'd like me to, because I don't have strength. But I'd like to try to pick up both of these hogtied individuals, one with my 2 left arms, one with my 2 right arms, and
I
start
need you
walking
to
the other
roll
2.
for that.
Alright, I'm trying to show off, so I feel
Yeah,
like I should.
we know you can pick up one
Oh yeah,
creature.
I'm struggling, and I kind of like kick him a little bit with my foot as I realize I'm not gonna be able to pick him up, roll him over towards Vigor and Nimbus, and like throw the other one over and march behind over to the other house.
The red priest comes out in me a bit. My eyes widen, and I think perhaps he's got too much mass. We could shave a bit off. And I go to reach for my weapon.
So Bob is showing them where the outhouse is. They're all already walking towards the outhouse. So you don't have to leave that as a cliffhanger. Like, you could just kind of tell us what you're doing right now because everybody's kind of oblivious to what you're doing.
And he's
I do
hogtied, so.
I
And
feel
he's
like
hogtied and blind
I-
and his ears are ringing.
I do feel like per our previous engagements, there'd be a pretty good chance that either Pith or Nimbus would just go no Vigor without turning around. But
Um,
I'm wrong.
We notice he's not immediately with us, and you don't even
Yeah, like,
turn
no,
around.
Don't do it.
I feel like
What?
I can allow that.
like
question
the
is, do
dad
you
whistle,
listen, Vigor?
you know?
You're lucky, you ruffian. For if my friends were just a bit farther away, I would gut you. And I sheath my weapon. And I drag him. I don't pick him up. I just like grab his like bound feet and drag him so his head like smashing on the ground as I pull him up the waist to the outhouse.
Okay. So you have left and remember this was a camp for like 14, 15 people. So it's not like a tiny little one-seater. This outhouse building has some room to it. So you've got what I'm saying is you have space to store a lot of bodies.
Got it.
Yeah.
Heard that.
Yeah. Shouldn't say those words to the 3 of you, but I did.
Hey, quick question.
Yeah.
Are there carnivorous mushrooms?
You ask this out loud because I would love to roll a knowledge or something check.
Yeah, as we get up to the outhouse, I say, "Look, I get it. You don't want me to lop off a hand or, pull out his guts because you don't want me to do the killing. But nature take its course, you know what they say. Perhaps are there carnivorous mushrooms out and about?" pith?
So can I roll some sort of like just a base skill check to see if I know if I can think of any carnivorous
Yeah.
mushrooms off the bat? Cool. So I do not, unfortunately. I rolled a 5 and a 3. So I turn back to you and I say, well, Vigor, there's lots of stuff out there that I don't know about. I was just a lowly frog for a long time, and now I'm a young gaudy lawyer. Not exactly my massive forte, the carnivorous type. I usually was the one eating, the mushrooms. There might exist some, but I can't think of any off the top of my head. I turn over to our friend Bob and I say, "You haven't happened to see any problematic mushrooms in the region, have you? Something that maybe we could use as a depository for these not yet dead corpses." I say as I kind of nudge Vigor, a glint in my eye.
I haven't seen any corpse-eating mushrooms. I'd imagine that if you left the body in this fungal forest unattended for a while, the mushrooms would probably take care of it, but that would take some time. In a way, aren't all plants carnivorous?
This is true. This is Circle of
Ooh.
Life. This is Roberto. You're spitting some truth. I like the
My
way
Yes.
you
name is
think.
Bob.
Yes,
Bob,
you
you're
Bob.
spitting some truth. You're spitting some real truth, Bob.
We should listen to Bob Betos over here. He speaks wisely.
The most intelligent dwarf I've ever met.
Like,
Oh,
Especially a
I'm
poorly made one. I
I'm
mean, it's always a roll of the
appreciating these
dice.
name jokes, but Bob hates you so much. Like both of you, Bob
Great.
hates.
I know, team. And I start reaching into my bag for the slake bottle.
Are you gonna feed one of them to a slake?
I'm gonna
Smart.
try.
Smart.
Okay.
Should we start small? I could cut off a finger or a foot.
Okay, so I did roll enough to be able to easily and pretty quickly pull a slake out. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull the slake bottle out of the top of my bag. And I have the most devilish little grin on my face. And I pop that top and toss the slake out of the jar over one of the hog-tied bodies.
So I assume all three of you are watching.
mm.
I give no forewarning. I just kind of, I say like, I have an idea, but that slate could do it. Bop.
So what you see is straight up something out of your worst nightmares. It's think of like how venom engulfs people, like the symbiote suit venom.
Right.
Yeah, it's like that, except for it's not covering, it's consuming. And they were kind of stacked up. And it doesn't care, it just consumes all three of them.
I am cheering audibly, like, while this is happening, giving him a real, yes, boy. Good job.
Yeah.
You're doing so good. You beautiful boy. Eat them all.
You're growing.
I need to find. There's the slake. I'm gonna go ahead and say that there were two useful normal items and a weapon in their effects, like just on their bodies. Like one of them had a dagger or something, right?
Yeah.
So I need you to roll a d6 3 separate times and give me each of the numbers.
So my first roll is 4.
Yep.
My second number is a 1.
Okay.
And my third is a 3.
Okay, so you get so you get some rope, right? Another whip,
Oh,
Wow.
and then a about a 1-gallon ceramic like planter pot with soil in it. And
How
since
very
this was
interesting.
3 living beings that were consumed by the slake, you get 3 more slake eggs. So
So
that brings your
as soon as
total
this is,
to, I think it was 3 before, wasn't it?
I think so. Yeah, 6.
Yeah, so you have 6 slake eggs.
So I looking down at these piles, a thought does occur to me right away, which is, oh no, I had hog-tied one of them with my whip before I threw this slake, which is my primary weapon. So I start going in, digging through the excrement in, ironically, the outhouse, trying to see if I can find any remnants of it. And I am shocked to see a brand new whip in the excrement. That is not the one I hog-tied this man with, but I am very pleased. I holster it. I don't bother cleaning it off because it seems closer to God this way. Um, listen, never over old Papa Sherp. Um, and then I do kind of toss some of the rope back, and I pick up the planter with kind of a light in my eye, thinking, oh, this will be an even better home for that anti-sunflower seed we have on the ship. Kind of put that off to the side, and I do
One.
pass one slake egg to each of my 2 companions, and I look at mine with all of the delight possible in my eyes. I look like a proud papa or mama, you know.
Wow. This is
Wow.
quite the gift. Also, it is clear that one of them soiled himself. Eh?
I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to wrap it early.
Okay, all right,
We've
I'm fine with that. It
all,
feels
full disclosure, listeners and viewers, it's been a hell of a week for all of us here at Sonderlings, and so we're gonna wrap early this week just to give ourselves a little bit extra time off,
yeah.
Word.
because it's Saturday
We've
night
got
and
to
we all need some
yeah,
recoup time.
yeah. We do also have a visitor coming, so
Yeah.
got some
So
extra
let's
house
do
prep to do.
real quick inspirations, and then we can all get out of here. Jacob, kick us off.
Yes. Adam Archer 11 on Instagram. He's an artist. I can't remember what all he's done, but he's got a really cool, very unique comic booky style. Um, I love his character creation. He's written a bunch of books and like illustrated themselves, which I think is a really inspiring thing to do. It's like a lot of short stories or like the word that I can like a serial release or whatever, where it's the short
Mhm.
pieces, but it's to be continued type stuff. I really, really enjoy his art though. I think it's a very unique style and it's a lot of fun. And it's at Adam Archer, spelled like it sounds, and
Oh
then
yeah,
1 Adam Archer 11 on Instagram.
that Henry Rollins piece is dope.
Yeah.
Awesome. Carl.
So my inspiration this week, once again, stems from The Alley. I will never shut up about it. If you haven't checked it out, you should. The Alleyman's Tarot is amazing. But more importantly, I don't roll your eyes like I haven't also dragged you into The Alley, the Facebook group, not like, physically assaulted you. Danny, but so there is specifically one person on there that I've done some swaps with. Part of the reason I love The Alley is it's not just about tarot, and if that's not really your cup of tea, it's also just a really awesome creative think tank. So I've connected specifically with R. Thomas Alwyn, who is a really fantastic illustrator, comic book artist, graphic artist, and writer, and just really like useful in general. Has been posting a lot of really fantastic like creative inspiration and just kind of like tips and tricks on how to do a lot of just like random, especially like paper edits and stuff. If you're like modding decks, that kind of stuff has definitely contributed some in that. But in general, his art style is really phenomenal. Like obviously he is a comic book artist, so it leans a little bit more in kind of like the graphic novel-y kind of direction. But for anyone interested in checking his stuff out, he's not only a sweet human but an awesome artist. You can find his Instagram. It's at R Thomas Thomas Alwyn Allwin. So both in like my just side projects has been really helpful, but also from an actual art perspective, I've been deep diving a little bit, and he's great. Highly recommend checking him out.
Hell yes, that's fantastic. DB.
Nice. So I recently bought a book called Rogues, and it is a collection of short stories about rascals and ne'er-do-wells and all of that. My favorite, what got me started was the George R. R. Martin The Rogue Prince or a King's Brother, and it's a story of Daemon Targaryen. I've listened to the podcast or the audiobook of it a bunch of times, but I wanted to read just the first couple sentences. So it says, he was the grandson of a king, the brother of a king, husband to a queen. 2 of his sons and 3 of his grandsons would sit the Iron Throne, but the only crown that Daemon Targaryen ever wore was the crown of the Stepstones, a meager realm he made himself with blood and steel and dragonfire, and soon abandoned. Ooh. It is a really awesome story about a daring and devilish prince. But it's got a bunch of famous authors in it. Neil Gaiman's in there. Scott Lynch. Is it Gillian Flynn? So
Think so.
I'm really excited to read it. It just came in the mail yesterday. So
Sweet.
yeah,
Yeah, that
I'll have
sounds
more.
Gillian
I'll,
Flynn.
I'll,
Gillian
I'll
Flynn?
report back with my future inspirations as I read these stories. But it
Patrick
seems really
Rothfuss
good.
is in that too, as well, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
Okay,
Sweet.
very cool.
What about you,
Uh,
Danny?
Fun fact: I also have a book. I finally got around to reading "To Sleep in a Sea of Stars" by Christopher Paolini. Most well known for writing the Aragon novels, like the Inheritance
Mhm.
cycle. It's amazing. Like really, really good sci-fi. I'm not going to tell you anything about it. It's phenomenal. Read it. That's
Just go
it.
check it out. Yeah.
Yep. Uh,
Beautiful.
like just if you like good sci-fi, go read it. So that's it. I think we're gonna call it for the night. We hit about an hour, so I'm exhausted. I want to go get some rest. So thank you everybody for coming by. You're all wonderful, and this is the part where we say later, nerds.
Bye.